Hi, welcome to another Hotel Tales What's Your Story chat series. The nature of an organization's culture and its ability to respond appropriately to situations is determined largely by the communication practices of its management team. Today's organization leaders are characterized not by specific personality traits or by the accomplishment of tasks, but rather by the response he or she is able to elicit from others. Hospitality managers who emerge as leaders in this era are likely to be men and women who deal effectively with multicultural workforce and who are able to present their ideas clearly. Their competency in communication and sensitivity will ultimately affect employees and customers alike. There is little question that communication will continue to play an increasingly vital role as hospitality managers meet a variety of human resources challenges in the decades ahead. We have with us today someone I consider a hotel industry's very own communications guru, Dato Rosemarie Wee. A veteran in the hospitality industry, Rosemarie brings a wealth of experience, specializing in communications, public relations, advertising, and community relations. She is currently the Director of Community Relations with the Four Seasons Hotel Kuala Lumpur, where she develops and oversees the implementation of projects related to the hotel's commitment to the community. She plays an integral role in fostering and developing strategic partnerships, including government relations, hospitality and tourism boards, and community engagements. She is also the liaison person with various philanthropic institutions. Prior to her current role, Rosemarie was the Area Director of Communications at Shangri-La Hotel Kuala Lumpur, a position she held for 34 years. During her tenure, Rosemarie oversaw the communications strategy of the luxury hotel, which included media relations, advertising, and integrated marketing campaigns, and much more. Let's chat with Dato Rosemarie Wee and find out what's her story. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome to another episode of Hotel Tales What's Your Story chat series. In a competitive marketplace, effective service is often synonymous with effective communication. Managers must not only make their messages clear, they must also develop and maintain positive relationships with both guests and associates. In a very real sense, effective management is effective communication. To chat on this topic of communications, we welcome today Dato Rosemarie Wee to this episode of Hotel Tales chat series. Welcome, Rosemarie.
Thank you, Hanley, for having me. It's an honor to be on your show.
Thank you. Let me start by asking you a very basic question. What is the role of a communications department in a hotel setting?
Well, to be very honest, basically it's just to disseminate information to the public, right? That's basically what it is, except that we have to do it in a more strategized manner, more organized procedures, and in so as to actually create a positive or a conducive atmosphere to support actually sales efforts or PR efforts.
Right.
So that's why we need to have a communication department in a hotel.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically,
and do you adopt a different stance when you communicate a piece of good news versus a piece of bad news?
Well, basically, I don't think that we actually would like to share bad news, right? Mm-hmm. So let's look at it the other way, and we're trying to make everything that we communicate in a more positive manner. We actually should circumvent or avoid, communicating adverse subjects. So we dwell on the positive side. So we have to then, create or develop certain happenings, right, to bring out the positive side of the establishment. So you can make use of the talents. You can make use of for example, a hotel. The GM, right? You can publicize about him, what he is good at, what are his hobbies, because generally a GM is synonymous with a hotel, right? So when people read about hotel GM, how great he is, what he does, even in his free time, it sort of elevate the hotel and keep the hotel, being in the top of the mind of the people. So whenever we talk about, let's say for example, the GM's name pops up, it's synonymous with the hotel. Yeah. So therefore, I in my experience, I would like to communicate, yes, everything positive. Not that I will think of a way to circumvent and make everything positive, because I think that whatever news that's not so positive, maybe you don't need to do it. You can dwell on the positive side.
Yeah,
that's my belief.
Yeah, you will focus more on the positive communication angle, right? Yeah, but there will be adverse news, I'm sure. I mean, hotel operations, there will be. So what strategies do you apply when communicating all these adverse news? First, to internal stakeholders. Of course, the internal people must know first. And then secondly, of course, to the external guests. How do you, or what strategies do you apply when you communicate such news?
Yeah, okay. Let's take for example, the internal stakeholders, right? Of course, we cannot, even as PR, we cannot just come out and say something ourselves. So we need to meet with the GM, all right, if there's something really adverse and I really need to communicate with the stakeholders. Mm-hmm. So we meet with the GM, of course, and maybe the PC committee. And most important is we come up with a prepared statement. Now that's very important, so that we have only one spokesperson. That's now right. Then the GM will then communicate whatever it is first to the stakeholders, because it's more of an internal. Right, and then when that's done, then it's up to us. Then the PR department may communicate it, to the
external ones.
The guests, the external guests. Yeah. That's how we do it, and just be very very careful that we do not have so many people in the hotel, giving interviews or talking about the subject matter. Everything has to depend on one spokesperson. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that source of communication, that one point of communication is actually very important during adverse circumstances. Yeah. How has marketing by hotels changed because of this pandemic? What effective business recovery strategies should this industry employ during such a pandemic?
Well, actually, nowadays, right, it's so difficult because of the pandemic, right? It's difficult to actually market the establishment. I wouldn't say even just hotel, right? It is very difficult. But we have to then depend a lot on social media nowadays, right? So what we do is that we keep on, keeping ourselves busy, coming out with news, right? Just to keep the guests and the public top of the mind, that the hotel is top of the mind. Yeah, and I think this is very important, the communication, right, with the media and with the bloggers, whatever. It's not just to keep quiet and they think that, oh, you do not care about me at this time. So we have to do a lot of communication with these people, just as a friend or as a caring person. And if you want to really promote the hotel, then for us, we will send maybe some packed meals or a cake, just to tell you that we are still here, we are still, thinking of you, so that, when the pandemic is over and when we need their help, we can easily go back and we don't give them the feeling that, oh, I neglect you because, you weren't of any use to me during the pandemic, but now, I'm back again because I need you. No. So we have to maintain that positive relationship with the media, with our friends, not just, dwelling on the fact that, oh yeah, we're going to make use of them. They can help us, during good times when we want to promote a product. No, I think that rapport, right, has to be there. You have to keep on, being in communication with them, tell them what's happening, so that they are interested and they know that you are a friend as well. So that's my way of, dealing with media.
I think that's a very clever way. You consistently keep them engaged, right?
Yeah.
You keep them warm. So in good times, in bad times, you are actually keeping them warm. That's very clever.
Exactly.
But Rosemary, I may ask, in marketing these days, there is a lot of focus on content. We can create, curate, collaborate to get content, right? Which do you think works best for the hotel, for hotel marketing?
I think definitely we need all the three components, really. All the three components. We must create, and then we must curate, and we must collaborate. Now, so let me tell you how we curate and how we create. First of all, we have to create a lot of exciting activities or promotions or whatever. All right. Nowadays, in the olden days first, I use olden days. In the olden days, the PR, right, is the person who goes into every department, to get the news and then develop them into positive stories. Maybe using talents, maybe using the procedures, the recipes of chefs, the bakery chefs, whatever. Nowadays, because of social media, we need very, very fast news, right? So we actually now would like to actually get the staff involved as well. So it's front of the house, back of the house. We encourage them to give us stories. So then it's up to the PR then to create them, and whether we want to blow up a certain character or a certain talent, whatever. But we need the contents to be created by everybody so that it's more far-reaching. We can get more story instead of depending on just the PR and the PR department, right? Because we can't see everything. Of course, in the past, I used to insist that every happening in the hotel, the PR must know. It's just like we need to know everything. So now we need to get the staff involved as well to help us to create the content, to give us the content as well, so that then we will, maybe twist it and make it nice and appealing. I think that's very important.
That's true. That is true. And I think, we have been in the industry for quite a long time, both you and I. We have seen how guests have changed, in the needs have changed, the requirements have changed. Do you think guests today are paying for hotel products and services, or are they paying more for experiences?
Well, I think when you talk about product, the hotel product is actually creating the experience, right? You cannot just have a product without creating something. So you've got to create the experience, right? So with this creativity, right, which we have to be very innovative because it's so competitive. Every hotel, they're doing the same thing. So we need to be very, very creative and innovative, right, while creating this experience for the guests. And complemented by, of course, service. I think these two then combine and gives you an unforgettable experience.
Right.
I think you just need to combine these two to get the unforgettable experience.
Yeah. So it is a whole package, the whole combination.
Together that we need the product and we need to have the service, and not to combine it together to make it into an unforgettable experience for the guests.
Right. Okay. And how do you keep guests coming back or keep them within the brand franchise regardless of where they go around the world? Right? What retention strategies or programs do you think are most effective for hotels to apply?
I think the one that is normally used by most of the hotels is actually the loyalty program. The loyalty program. So they create a lot of loyalty program in recognition of the guest patronage. So that's what we want to do as well, because we want to keep, guests coming back. We keeping return guests is not so easy. So you really have to make the guests feel that they are happy with the service, they're happy with the product, and that's why they want to return.
Right.
So we must always appreciate their patronage. And one way of doing this is the the program, right? The loyalty program, where you can build in a lot of things for them. And this is the only way, because you need to have a personal touch as well. You don't just treat them as guests, because all my guests or all my media friends have become close friends over the years, and they really, think of you, say, oh, Rose, you are here now. Oh, I want to come back to this place. Oh, you have this, right, to share. Oh, you have this for me to enjoy. I know you, I can trust you, because you have been with me for so long. And so they come, oh, it's very nice to hear. Sometimes they say, oh, you know what? I am coming here because I know you're here. It's very nice to hear that. It's really very encouraging. So maybe my strategy, or what I normally do, is that I always treat the guests as friends.
Right.
All right. So make friends and keep them as friends. And that's how I do it.
That personal relationship that you have developed with them.
Personal relationship. Yeah. Not just to, sell them something and then forget about it. I always do a lot of follow-up.
That's right.
Sorry.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for sharing with me these insights, which I think very valuable with a person of your experience. Yeah? But before I let you go, Rosemarie, tell us what are some of the best practices in communications that you would like to impart to new hoteliers joining this industry?
I think for me, the most important thing over the years that I've been PR, I think I want to develop a relationship, a friendship sort of relationship, more than I think that, I can make use of you, or you can help me with the publicity or whatever. No, I think every time I have a guest or somebody that I know, I get to know them, I get into their life, discreetly, of course, and I become friends, right? And that's how I maintain a relationship. I always tell people who are involved in PR, I says, never ever, misjudge people like, you think the reporter is just a small reporter, a small young journalist or inexperienced, so I don't care about her. Yeah. No, you have to make sure that you take care, you respect them, all right? And when you entertain them for a meal or whatever, don't go and call back the next day and say, where is my publicity? Never do that. My greatest tip to all the young PR practitioners, because it doesn't work that way. It doesn't mean that one meal will get you to where you are today, and because I've given you one meal, so you must give me back. No, I think that we should not do that. So the most important thing is to establish a good relationship with the media, with the people, with the guests and all that. So all the guests now become my friends, and most of my friends are clients, are guests as well of the hotel. Here, I would like to, if you don't mind, I would like to share a little example, right, of how relationship with the media is so important, because it's not just getting to know the media so that you can make use of them or whatever. No, I think it's very, very important for us to actually treat all of them as our dear friends as we go along. You can also find that there's some that you can really become very, very good friends. So, I was with one hotel before, right? And I want to say that, after 8 months of opening, right, there was an adverse case, right? There was a suicidal case like that. The young boy, he jumped from the 23rd floor, and, because of some personal problems. Now, being a new hotel, it is very adverse for us to have such news being publicized in the media, in the newspaper and all that. So I had to call up all my friends, and they have, as I said, because I have maintained the relationship in such a way that I'm more of a friend than as a person seeking for their help. So when I called them up and I said, can you help me? Try not to, blow this up too big. And if you need to, please don't mention the name of the hotel, right?
Yeah.
And done very well.
Very
Nobody
good.
knew that story at all, right? Yeah. So, this story never came out except for, I think in one Chinese newspaper, there was a small paragraph that came out with this, but he didn't mention the hotel name. So I was also very happy and grateful that. So with that also, I then go back and I thank everybody. I mean, I take the trouble to, personally call and thank them, because I don't want this to go unnoticed. Because to them it means a lot, because they have helped me. So in that way, I must say that I'm very lucky to have maintained a very good relationship / friendship. So they all have been so wonderful to me, and to a certain extent, I would like to say that it is they who actually, who have helped me in my career, in my work.
Right. Yeah, I think that is a really very good words of advice. There's a lot of wisdom there, I can see, especially for new hoteliers joining the industry. We have been speaking with Dato Rosemarie Wee. She is the Director of Community Relations with the Four Seasons Hotel Kuala Lumpur. And you have been watching Hotel Tales, What's Your Story chat series. Thank you very much, Dato Rosemarie Wee, for coming on to the show. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.